My name is Margaret Rose Sullivan, and I'm 74 years old. I'm sitting in my kitchen in Charleston, South Carolina, watching the oak tree in my backyard sway in the evening breeze. My granddaughter Emma just left after our Sunday dinner, and something she said got me thinking about my life, specifically about the words I spoke and the words I didn't. Emma's going through a rough patch with her best friend, and she asked me what's the one thing I wish I'd done differently in life. I laughed and told her I don't have just one thing. I have 7, and every single one of them has to do with my mouth, what comes out of it, and what stays stuck in my throat. Let me tell you the 7 mistakes about speaking and staying silent that I'll carry to my grave. It was 1968. I was 22, fresh out of college, and my best friend Linda was about to marry a man named Robert. Everyone in our circle could see he was controlling, the way he'd grip her elbow a little too tightly, how he'd answer questions directed at her, the gradual disappearance of Linda's bright laughter. The night before her wedding, we were alone in her childhood bedroom, surrounded by tulle and dreams. She looked at me and said, "Maggie, am I doing the right thing?" My heart screamed, "No, run!" But my mouth said, "Every bride gets cold feet, honey. You'll be fine." I stayed silent because I didn't want to be that friend. I didn't want to be dramatic. I didn't want to risk our friendship if I was wrong. I wasn't wrong. Linda stayed married to Robert for 18 years. 18 years of walking on eggshells, of her light dimming year by year. By the time she finally left him, she'd lost herself so completely that it took another decade to find her way back. She's never blamed me, but I blame myself. Silence isn't always golden. Sometimes it's just cowardice dressed up as politeness. When someone you love is in danger, your silence isn't kindness, it's abandonment. Speak up, even if your voice shakes, even if they get angry, even if you're wrong. In 1975, I was 29 and thought I knew everything. I'd just been promoted at the advertising firm where I worked. I was making good money and had become what we'd now call a career woman, though back then there were less flattering terms for it. My mother was from a different generation. She'd spent her whole life as a homemaker, raising 4 children, keeping a perfect house, supporting my father's career. She'd never had a job outside the home, never had her own bank account, never made a major decision without my father's input. One Sunday dinner, she made a comment about how she hoped I'd settle down soon and find a good husband. I'd heard it 1,000 times before, but that day something in me snapped. Maybe if you'd done something with your life besides cooking and cleaning, you'd understand that some of us want more than being someone's housewife, I said. The table went silent. My father's fork stopped halfway to his mouth. My brothers stared at their plates, and my mother, my sweet, gentle mother, looked like I'd slapped her across the face. She didn't cry at the table. She just stood up, walked to the kitchen, and quietly did the dishes. I left without apologizing, still self-righteous and angry. She died of a stroke 3 years later, suddenly and without warning. I'd apologized by then, and she'd forgiven me. She always forgave everyone everything, but I never forgave myself. Because here's what my 29-year-old self didn't understand. My mother had done something with her life. She'd raised 4 humans, kept a family together through my father's job losses and health scares, volunteered at the church and the elementary school, and created a home that was a sanctuary for everyone who entered it. Just because her work wasn't valued by society didn't mean it wasn't valuable. Words are weapons, and some wounds never fully heal. Before you speak in anger, especially to those you love most, remember that you can't unring that bell. I married Tom Sullivan in 1977. He was a good man, steady, kind, funny in a quiet way. He wasn't the most romantic man in the world. He didn't write me poetry or surprise me with grand gestures, but every morning for 38 years he made my coffee just the way I liked it. He never forgot my birthday. He held my hand through 2 miscarriages before we had our daughter, Sarah. Tom wasn't effusive with words either. He showed his love through actions, fixing the porch steps without being asked, warming up my car on cold mornings, leaving little notes in my lunchbox when I went back to work. I took it for granted. I thought we had time. I thought he knew. But here's the thing about people. Even the most confident among us sometimes need to hear the words. We need verbal confirmation that we're loved, that we're appreciated, that our presence in this world matters to someone. I said I love you sometimes, sure, but not enough, not with the weight and intention those words deserve, not while looking him in the eyes and really meaning it. Tom died of a heart attack in 2015 at the age of 68 while trimming the hedges in our yard. He was there, and then he wasn't. I told his body I loved him. I told his casket. I told his gravestone. But I'll never know if I said it enough when he could hear me, when it could have warmed his heart on a difficult day, when it could have been a light in whatever darkness he might have been facing. Don't assume the people you love know you love them. Say it. Say it often. Say it specifically. I love you because I appreciate when you. My life is better because you're in it. These aren't just words. They're food for the soul, and everyone is starving for them. In 1989, I was 43 and a senior account manager at my firm. A young woman named Denise had just been hired, and she was brilliant, creative, energetic, and talented in ways that honestly intimidated me. One day I saw her having lunch with one of our married clients at a restaurant that seemed a bit too intimate, a bit too dimly lit. I didn't think much of it until Janet from accounting asked me if I'd noticed Denise and this client spending a lot of time together. Well, I said, leaning in conspiratorially, I did see them having lunch at Morello's last week, and it didn't exactly look like business, if you know what I mean. I didn't say she was having an affair. I just implied it, suggested it, left the door open for others to walk through with their own assumptions. And boy, did they walk through it. Within 2 weeks, the rumor had spread through the office. Denise noticed the cold shoulders, the whispers that stopped when she entered the break room. The client started avoiding working with her. Her projects were reassigned. She came to my office in tears one day. "Maggie, what did I do wrong? Why does everyone hate me?" Turns out that intimate lunch was her telling this client, who'd become a mentor to her, about her father's cancer diagnosis. The client had lost his own father to cancer and was offering her advice and support. I felt like garbage. I confessed to her what I'd said, and she was gracious enough to forgive me, but the damage was done. She left the firm 6 months later. Her promising career there was finished because of my careless words. Gossip feels like connection, like you're sharing a secret, building a bond, but it's poison. Before you speak about someone who isn't in the room, ask yourself, is it true? Is it kind? Is it necessary? If it doesn't meet all 3 criteria, zip your lips. Your words can destroy what someone has spent years building. In 1995, I was working at a different firm, and we had a situation with Marcus, one of the few black employees in our predominantly white company. He was being systematically overlooked for promotions, despite having more experience and better performance reviews than his white colleagues. I noticed it. Everyone noticed it. We all talked about it quietly among ourselves, shaking our heads about how unfair and unfortunate it was. But when Marcus finally filed a complaint with HR, and they asked for witnesses or anyone with information to come forward, I stayed silent. I told myself I couldn't risk my own position. I had a daughter in college. I had a mortgage. I convinced myself that my speaking up wouldn't make a difference anyway.
Silence in the face of injustice isn't neutrality, it's complicity. When you see someone being mistreated, discriminated against, or abused, and you say nothing, you've chosen a side. You've chosen the side of the oppressor. Yes, speaking up might cost you something, but living with the knowledge that you stood by and did nothing costs even more. This might seem like a smaller mistake compared to the others, but it shaped decades of my life in ways I'm still untangling. I was a people pleaser. I said yes to everything. Every committee at church, every bake sale at Sarah's school, every extra project at work, every favor a friend or neighbor asked. I said yes because I wanted people to like me, to think I was capable, to see me as generous and helpful. But here's what I wasn't saying. I wasn't saying I'm overwhelmed. I wasn't saying I need rest. I wasn't saying that doesn't work for me. I wasn't saying no. In 2003, at the age of 57, I had what my doctor politely called exhaustion, but what was really a complete physical and emotional breakdown. I couldn't get out of bed for 3 weeks. My body had literally forced me to stop because I wouldn't choose to stop on my own. I had to learn that no is a complete sentence, that boundaries aren't mean, they're necessary, that saying yes to everything meant I was saying no to my own health, my own peace, my own priorities. Your voice matters when you're advocating for yourself, too. Saying no doesn't make you selfish or difficult, it makes you honest. It preserves your energy for the things and people that truly matter. Practice saying it. No, I can't take that on. No, that doesn't work for me. No, thank you. Your well-being depends on it. This is the mistake I'm correcting right now, at 74, sitting in my kitchen and talking to my granddaughter. For most of my life, I thought my experiences didn't matter. I wasn't famous, I hadn't done anything extraordinary. I was just an ordinary woman living an ordinary life. So, when my daughter went through difficult times, when my granddaughter faced challenges I'd faced before, when younger women at work struggled with issues I'd navigated, I often stayed quiet. I didn't offer my hard-won wisdom. I didn't say, "I've been there, and here's what I learned." I thought, who am I to give advice? What do I know? But you know what? I know a lot. 74 years of living teaches you things that can't be learned any other way. My mistakes, my regrets, my hard-earned lessons, they might help someone else avoid the same pain. Staying silent about what we've learned doesn't make us humble, it makes us stingy. We hoard our wisdom like it's precious jewelry locked in a safe, instead of sharing it like bread that could feed hungry souls. Your story matters. Your experiences matter. The things you've learned through success and failure, joy and pain, they matter. Don't wait until you think you're wise enough or accomplished enough to share them. Don't rob the younger generation of the benefit of your experience. Speak up. Tell your story. Your voice might be exactly what someone needs to hear. As I shared these 7 mistakes with Emma that Sunday evening, she asked me, what connects all of these? What's the through line? I thought for a moment and realized every single mistake was about misusing or not using my voice. Speaking when I should have been silent, gossip and cruel words, staying silent when I should have spoken, truth, love, advocacy, boundaries, wisdom, using my words carelessly instead of carefully, hoarding my words instead of sharing them generously. Our voices are the most powerful tools we possess. They can heal or harm, connect or divide, build up or tear down. Words can save lives, and silence can end them. How we choose to use our voices or not use them shapes not just our own lives, but the lives of everyone around us. At 74, I finally understand that wisdom isn't always knowing the right thing to say. It's about being intentional with our words, thoughtful about our silence, brave enough to speak truth, and humble enough to apologize when we get it wrong. If you take nothing else from my story, take this. Speak words of love freely and often. Don't assume people know. Tell them. Speak truth when it's uncomfortable. Silence in the face of someone's self-destruction isn't kindness. Stay silent when tempted to gossip. Your words have power. Use them to build up, not tear down. Speak up against injustice. Your comfort is more important than someone else's dignity. Speak the word no when you need to. Boundaries are healthy, and you are allowed to have them. Speak your story. Share your wisdom. Your experiences matter. Think before you speak, especially to those you love. Some words, once spoken, can never be taken back. I'm 74 years old, and if I'm blessed with more years, I'll use them to do better, to speak when I should speak, to listen more carefully, to use my words to heal instead of harm, to tell the truth with love, and to share what I've learned with anyone who listen. Emma hugged me when I finished, tears in her eyes. "Thank you, Grandma Maggie," she whispered. "I'm going to go talk to my friend right now." And just like that, maybe my mistakes and the lessons I learned from them will spare her from making the same ones. That oak tree in my backyard has weathered storms, drought, and 70 years of South Carolina summers. It's still standing, still growing, still providing shade. I like to think I'm a bit like that tree, weathered by my mistakes, marked by my regrets, but still here, still growing, still offering what shelter and wisdom I can to those who sit in my shade. Use your voice. Use it wisely, use it bravely, use it kindly. We only get one life, and the words we speak or don't speak become the story we leave behind.